would conquer the world. He had a mad, rhyming name, but what about image? He loathed the bad rep given to bikers by movies like Brando's The Wild One, so black leathers were definitely out. Instead, he borrowed the Vegas razzmatazz of Elvis and Liberace and donned white leathers because, well, that's what the good guys should wear.
He had the big lapels. He had movie-star looks, I think. I mean, he was a good-looking guy.
For those few years, Daredevil was the new rock and roll, and Evel Knievel was Elvis.
Blue, red and white decorations, stars, stripes, the lot. He was Mr. America.
Take your breath away.
By 1968, he was ready to launch his unique brand of showbiz risk onto the world stage at the perfect venue.
The Las Vegas jump was the jump that made Evel Knievel the name that he became. He was the modern P.T. Barnum. He knew how to create a stir. He managed to negotiate this jump where he was going to leap over 151 foot across the fountains in front of Caesar's palace.
He said, "Kid, you sure you can do this?" I said, "Yeah, I can do it." He said, "What do you want?" I said, "I want 5,000 a jump."
He couldn't gauge how fast he needed to go prior to doing the jump. Normally a jumper will do a run-up before and cut out the gas and actually make sure the bike's got enough momentum to keep it going. He couldn't do that, so he just, you know, barreled up the ramp.
He took off at 70 miles an hour, soared 20 feet above the fountains and 44 feet to the landing ramp. Perfect. Except his landing wasn't. The jolt threw him from the bike, and Evel was immortalized on film looking like a crash test dummy. Evel hit the brick wall at the end of the run and lost consciousness. Nobody knew if he would live or die.
You could hear the roar of the crowd and the gasp of the crowd and so forth, and you knew something bad had happened. Somehow the bike didn't land right, and he must have been hurt, but I didn't know really how serious he was hurt. Everybody was running around like mad. They were all anxious to get up to see what was going on. They were concerned for his safety.
When you hit on plywood and asphalt, it bites back, boy. It's not falling on a canvas or falling on AstroTurf or a football field. Asphalt is non-forgiving and just tears you to pieces.
He was rushed to hospital where he lay in a coma for 29 days.
That was the appeal of Evel, the fact that he attempted these ridiculous jumps and then failed. So when Evel Knievel woke up, he woke up American hero. He's such a gambler, you never know whether he's going to pull off the jump or die. And bet on red, it came out black. He still ended up winning.
When you do what I do for a living, you have to have a positive mental attitude. And if that positive mental attitude doesn't work when you make that jump, you have to be man enough to handle the circumstances. In my case, I'm man enough.
He would always carry a trophy from that defining crash, a trademark cane, the result of multiple hip operations. But he was, quite simply, too hard to stop jumping.
I know I'm one tough son of a bitch. I know that.
He called himself the last gladiator of the New Rome, which, you know, basically he wasn't going against a lion, he was going against death.
Human beings are fascinated by anything which is not mundanity. The audience, you know the audience is going to be at the same time wanting him to succeed but also wanting him to come to a grisly end.
People want to pay $10 or $15 to go into a stadium and watch you break your legs or your pelvis. Of course, I mean, it's not, you know, we term it now car crash, but now, of course, it was bike crash.
It's not an exact science, riding a bike, and certainly jumping is not an exact science, and you know, there have been numerous deaths of jumpers since, trying to emulate Evel, and you know, it is a dangerous business.
Teddy Roosevelt said one time that it's better to try and win glorious triumphs and victories, even though you're checkered by failure and fate, than to rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy victory or defeat because they've lived in such a great twilight that they've never tried either one.
3 years later, Knievel was in Texas to make another career-defining jump. But physically, he was a very different man. Pretty much pinned together by nuts and bolts. But nothing was going to stop this bionic biker.
In order to do what he does, in order to completely overcome what for any of the rest of us would be a huge amount of anxiety, you have to build a tough shell around yourself and make yourself be that Mr. Invulnerable.
Close to 100,000 people gathered at the Houston Astrodome to watch Evel Knievel attempt a new world record, jumping 11 cars and 2 trucks. Evel made the jump comfortably and set a new world record.